Oh, what? One automatic rifle and a lot of ammo. Good? Yeah, good.
We're all set to riot. My gun. Before you lose your Second Amendment. My gun. They'll burn you out like you Waco. They'll stick your ass in a camp. 10-foot cops in riot gear, gonna kick your ass and laugh. The revolution is on its way. Better lock and load your AK. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Before you wish you bought a gun. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Before you wish you bought a gun. We're all set to riot. Back up. Before you lose your Second Amendment. Back up. They gave your money to the banksters. They stole your pension fund. It's time that we took to the streets. It's time we had our turn. A revolution is on its way, and the founding fathers would say, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Before you wish you bought a gun. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Before you wish you bought a gun. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta drag them through the streets.
It is Tuesday. It's Primer Time. My name is Michael.
And I'm Nick.
Hey, what's up, Nick? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Michael. How are you?
Not too bad. Everybody, this is Primer Time Radio on UCY.tv. Thanks for listening. It's Tuesday night in the face of another legal assault on our right to bear arms in the state of California. Nick, are you up on this?
Not exactly. Why don't you go ahead and fill us in?
Governor Jerry Brown today has signed legislation that enables the removal of firearms without any sort of hearing or competency hearing or legal action. They can now be removed on a statement.
So
and it doesn't necessarily have to come.
I was going to say, this sounds like
suspension of your rights.
Yeah, suspension of due process.
That's right. And Everytown for Gun Safety was out in just absolutely celebratory, and it looks like MSNBC had premature ratings over this.
That's about the only time they get ratings.
Yeah, that's about it. You're exactly right. MSNBC exists to basically make ratings off the gun controversy.
Oh, well, that would happen to be the same network that's in bed with Michael Bloomberg.
Absolutely. Yeah. And interesting, did you happen to see that Bloomberg is finding a dearth of candidates to promote?
Oh, of course.
He's having difficulty, serious difficulty to finding candidates to promote and basically to fund.
Yeah, people are
anti-gun message is falling on deaf ears, it appears.
People are starting to realize that they have a duty to themselves and their families to protect not only their loved ones, but their properties and their livelihoods. And his policies don't work.
Oh, absolutely, they do not work. And we've seen just recently in Chicago, while Chicago still has, the very high weekend totals for drive-by shootings and whatnot, the actual amount of crime has dropped due to the fact that people can now carry in Chicago. And those numbers dropped precipitously upon the arrival of that law.
Yeah, and it's amazing that we have such, large metropolitan areas that are still having, city councils and mayorships that really discourage the, individual right to bear arms and to protect, yourself as a citizen. I just, you heard the story of what happened in Miami this past weekend with 15 odd people getting shot at a nightclub, including children, I might add. So
yeah, when 11-year-olds are getting shot inside a bar at 3 a.m., the problem is not the firearm. The problem is the people.
Oh, I would have to agree. I would have to say that their choice of lifestyle probably lends them to be in situations that aren't necessarily wholesome, and that means they're not thinking about the children.
Absolutely, and there's nothing more disgusting than not thinking of the children.
I tell you what,
you'll never get your own NBC television show if you don't think about the children.
just think, for 79 cents a day, your continued commitment to buying ammo will keep your own children safe.
79 cents a day. What are you going to do with those 13 rounds of 22 long?
I was going to say, you're not going to be buying 22 with that. That's for sure.
You're getting 13 rounds. You save up for a week, and you might end up with a tin of mini mags.
Yeah.
By the way, my local big box store, the famed Academy, they've got 22 in large quantities, but they are still at a 2 box per shopper maximum.
Yeah, well,
so that's it.
That's socialism right there. That's what that is.
I think it's actually kind of decent business practice, given the fact that when the rush was on, this particular chain's employees seemed to be buying the company's stock and then selling it out the back door.
Yeah, well, I mean, but
they would buy using.
Right?
I don't know if that's capitalism or that. I mean, it doesn't mean that you have unfettered and willy-nilly access to anything. I mean, they've got a commitment to their employer, and it's by buying it prior to the customers having a crack at it, and them turning around and gouging. I think if their employer knew, they would be fairly disturbed.
Well, not only if their employers knew. I think any employee of theirs engaging in that practice would most definitely be let go. They would be let go, and probably even maybe had some court actions against them, in the sense that basically that business is expecting to sell that product to a public that is awaiting a product, and you've got some folks that are doing the dirty deed and going out there and buying it out from underneath the company, which is expecting to have a good relationship with its customer base.
And that's the big hit, is that now every customer thinks that Academy is just a large group of scumbags because they never have any 22 on their shelves, when it's just really the fault of 4 employees in the sporting goods department that have really trashed the company's name. And is that it's not legally slander, but I mean it's almost the same effect, isn't it?
Well, and you look at it from a different aspect of it is, okay, the company, while they're trying to maintain their good name and they're trying to maintain their fan base for their product that they're putting out there, there are some people that are unscrupulously going out there buying it as an employee of the big box store, and by extension they're ruining that business's name as well. So it's not only
that's exactly what I'm saying. And
yeah.
And I've found that in this world today now, where we're using social media and more online, say forums and classifieds to peruse one of our favorite activities. I mean, to be honest with you, I have a Facebook account and I use it solely for firearms transactions. That's really all I care to use Facebook for. There's a couple of groups in my general area, and when I say general area, I'm going to say a 200-mile radius of my home, and it's basically like any of the other online sites. It's just got a much faster response time.
Right.
And I've found that there's employees of this big box store who are users of social media and Facebook in particular, and I'll tell you what, the guys who are the employees of the sporting goods section right there really are not the kind of guys I want to hang out with.
Oh yeah, and they're probably not the brightest bulbs in the lot either.
Well, they're I'll tell you, just recently there's in my area there's a fellow who's been pushing a JP Sauer and Son 357 single action pistol, and it seems that every post that goes up for sale, he's got that thing pushed in somebody's face. And you read another post, and he's already pushed it on somebody else, and he's pushed it on somebody else, and pushed it on somebody else. And I'm not knocking the quality of JP Sour and Stone, because they were actually a fairly quality company. I mean, they did morph into Sig Sauer after they merged with, I believe it's a Swedish company. Sig was a Swedish company, was it not?
Sig is, Sauer is German, and they are JP Sauer.
Yeah, that's right.
Son.
That's right. And so it was the merger of the German and Swedish company. But this is back when they were just a German company, and I've got no reason to doubt their quality. I get really suspicious about somebody who's trying to push this same weapon, and it's not like he's actually pursuing a certain type. He's not trying to trade this single action revolver for a semi-auto. He's trying to trade it for a semi-auto. He's trying to trade it for a bolt action rifle. He's trying to trade it for a tactical shotgun, for an SKS, for a cooler, for a large aluminum rifle case. He wants to get rid of it anyhow, and that tells me I do not want to purchase that pistol.
Well, not only that, I mean, he's got the right to do with it what he wants. It's a commodity. Some people look at it as a tool. He can do with it what he wants. But when, as an individual, you have that right also, just like you said, to decide whether or not you want to deal with that type of individual.
Right. And, Facebook is unique in versus, say, Craigslist or, whatever, name your state gun trader that you're looking at, in the fact that you can peruse somebody's profile, what they choose to let the world know about themselves.
Sure.
And, this is all completely voluntary, whatever information you put on there. I mean,
whatever you're willing to lie about yourself with.
Really, I mean, you could be Juan Tamale for all people know. Yeah. And anyhow.
One in a million.
Juan in a million, not two, just Juan.
Yeah.
Shout out to all our illegal alien listeners out there. And
hey, they'll be joining the military very soon.
That's right. Got to get more nuts behind the butts.
Hey,
but anyhow, get back to these guys.
Citizenship.
Would you like to know more?
Tell you what, that was a shout out for all of our Starship Trooper fans.
Hey, we highly recommend that movie here at PrimerTime Radio, Starship Troopers, an adaptation of the Robert Heinlein book. Go ahead and give that a watch. And remember, the only good bug is a dead bug.
That's right.
Anyhow, let's get back to these guys' profiles. Something interesting happened with one of the groups that I follow. Guy was coming on and trying to trade a lower-end flat-screen TV for a 9mm handgun. These two values are incomparable, to say the least.
Yeah.
I would say, what would you appraise the value of a low-end Walmart flat-screen TV at, say 3, 4, 5, 6 months old, whatever. Whatever you lie you're going to believe that is told to you in the presentation of this item.
Sure, I'd expect that item to be about $150 tops.
Correct. Now, what 9mm pistol are you going to get for $150 tops?
Does Jennings make a 9mm pistol?
They do, actually. They are now Jimenez arms.
There you go. That's what I'm looking for.
So it's the exact same pistol. So yeah, you're right about there, but I do believe that the Jennings comes in at about $179.
Yeah, so I mean that's comparable. That's what I was getting at.
There's the famed high point of $159 brand new fame, and it's both of them are subpar. Not necessarily what I'm looking for. They will go bang when you want them to, and the Jennings Ryko Jimenez may go bang when you don't want it to.
That's right.
But the idea is that somebody comes in, they obviously don't know the value of these things. They think that their pure entertainment device is going to be worth this, the price of this tool. Another one to keep an eyeball out for is somebody comes in, he says, real quick post, and it's in, the ubiquitous tech message language now, and it says, have $150 looking for handgun. Hit me up. And then you check out the guy's profile, and he's Scarface and El Chapo Guzman on his wall, and every gangster in the world, and his place of education is either, gangster college or pimpin' university, and, his employment is, street pharmacist or slang and rock. I think you should think twice about doing business with that fella.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're selling or purchasing from him.
Yeah, that's the question that I ask anybody that I ever do a person-to-person sale to, is that are you prohibited in this state from owning a firearm? And some people will actually say yeah, and that'll be like, well, then do you want to wait here when I call the cops, or do you want to go ahead and leave now?
See, I don't think I'd call the cops on that situation. I can't say that I asked that same question when I've done my when I've done person-to-person sales, but I have tried to ascertain a look at a driver's license or some form of ID,
right.
And I kind of size up, and go ahead and call it profiling, call it what you will. I size up who I sell to.
Certainly.
Here's a little hint: if you got a tattoo of a teardrop on your face, I am not selling you that single action pistol, buddy.
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
That's not happening. Neck tattoos are almost on the disqualifying list as well. And just out of general principles, I won't sell you a gun if you're a flat bill.
Yeah, or if it's still got the sticker on the bill.
And if you've got one of them great big old ear stretchers in, come on now.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm seeing here in my local area is generally I'm looking at the state gun trader, and then also a couple different forums that have for sale sections. But I'm also looking on Craigslist, and Craigslist is one of those forums that you have in different places. You have the anti-gunners who are just totally opposed to anything with the word rifle. They are quick to to flag every single post that has the word rifle, firearm, gun, bang, whatever keyword they want to use. They are so quick to ban. And
now let me ask you a question. In your area, when somebody posts say a firearm or a pistol or a rifle, what section do they post it in? Because Craigslist is broken down by sections.
Certainly. Normally what I see is that they're going directly to sporting goods, or they'll do it in something that has to do with just specifically bartering. If they want to trade, if they don't necessarily want cash, they want to go a different route and they want to get something as a commodity instead of the cash. But sporting goods is generally where I see them posting it.
I find them more often posted in tools and in automotive.
Yeah,
is where I find in my area is where they're either under sporting goods, tools, or automotive is where firearms are usually listed.
Yeah, that's probably because you have some folks that are out there.
Automotive. I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
Sure. I said that's probably because you're getting some folks who are out there searching those sporting goods sections, and they're looking to flag stuff. So these guys are probably going the alternate route and using the other categories.
I think so. And you've made a couple of transactions using Craigslist in the past. What kind of precautions do you take? I mean, I think these precautions should be tripled, doubled, quadrupled when you're using an online forum or marketplace to purchase a firearm or sell a firearm. I think there's very definite safety criteria you have to take in mind.
Certainly. And like I said, with your question, the very first thing I do is, we go back to what we were talking about is the manner in which the original communication takes place. Some people want to go with the email. Some people want to go with the text message. This particular individual I made a trade with over the weekend, I made it for some sporting goods equipment, having specifically to do with shooting. Basically, it's a tree stand that I can do self-climbing with. I can hook it around a tree and climb up the tree with it. So first thing I do is make sure that the person that I'm able to converse with doesn't send me back special characters or text message language that a 12-year-old would use. Second with that is make sure to go back and forth a couple different messages, and I'll throw out things that probably somebody who's in the know should be able to respond back in kind with. And then prior to setting a meeting place, always make sure it's in a public setting, fairly decent light available, nothing in the evening, and just basically being safe. And thankfully enough, in the area where I live, I'm allowed open carry without a permit. And I'll take a sidearm with me. This last one I did this past weekend, carried my para ordnance 45 with me, and not an
I'll
issue.
tell you what, a great big old 45 on your hip puts a stop to a whole bunch of shenanigans right off the bat.
I'll tell you what, if there were shenanigans, they weren't there when I got around.
That's a very, very handy thing to have.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you, when I carry, regardless of the law, and I'll admit to that right now, when I do my transactions, in my eyes, my safety is paramount, no matter what the law says. If the law serves to endanger me at that point in the activities of daily life, then the law is no good.
Oh, certainly. And
so
the biggest thing is that when you show up to conduct business, because it's what it is, this is a transaction, you're basically coming at somebody who you really don't know from Adam, and it's up to you to determine what is the best way to protect yourself, your commodities, and therefore your investment immediately thereafter you make the transaction, because you never know. For this one instance, 2 minutes after I had conducted business with this gentleman and I was about ready to leave, there was an individual who was asking me how much I wanted to sell the individual item that I had just received. And, I hadn't had my eye on this guy very long, but I knew he was watching me. And, could have been somebody with a, nefarious purpose, but he was just wanting to know if I was interested in selling immediately. And I just told him, I said, you know what, I'm always listening. So what offer are you giving me? But I at no point was ever concerned for my safety because I knew I was able to take care of myself.
Right. Well, and then this goes back to your initial conversations and communications with the other party. I personally like to, do whatever digital and cyber communication we have to have, and then I like to move to an actual phone call with a phone number as soon as possible.
Oh,
if the person cannot speak to me on the phone, that's a big red flag. How the person speaks to me on the phone is very important. If a guy comes at me, yo dog, I'd really dag that Glock. That photo is icy or something like that. No, I'm sorry. I just sold it 10 minutes ago. The guy walked to my house.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. I'm sorry. It's no longer for sale. That may be discriminatory or profiling or what have you, but I think I'm actually performing a service by not
yeah, I
letting something fall into the wrong hands.
Yeah, and it's up to you to determine what prudent measures you're going to take to ensure your safety. And I think that over time people develop their own ways to protect themselves. But I see absolutely nothing wrong with somebody carrying a weapon on their hip. And had the individual that I was doing business with done the same thing, I wouldn't have felt threatened. And I think that's the big thing that a lot of folks in the media portray. Anytime I see somebody getting a story done up about Starbucks, not wanting to have people come in and do open carry in their stores and this and that, out here locally we have a grocery store chain that goes by the name of Kroger, and they have an affiliate called Harris Teeter. Harris Teeter doesn't have a policy against letting people in with open carry. Displaying firearms on their hips. In the state, it's legal, so they haven't had any issues on that. But they've been getting petitioned by some of these anti-gun groups. There's one lately, I can't remember the name. It has
Moms Demand
Again. Yeah, there
Action.
You go. There you go.
Moms Demand Action.
And they're hitting corporate, and they are threatening them with all kinds of, hey, you're going to lose this kind of business because we're going to mobilize.
We're going to keep 18 customers out of your store.
That's right.
Not the way you do business.
That's right. And I would
because their numbers are quite low. They receive an inordinate amount of press compared to the numbers they have. And for a group that is bankrolled by, once again, his name pops up, Michael Bloomberg.
There you go.
They're awfully well funded for being considered a grassroots organization.
Yeah, and you probably have a couple of people who have access to a fax machine. And that's what they're doing.
Some got a fax machine in that house, yeah.
Right.
In that house of crazy.
Yeah.
Because really, that's what their arguments are. Is just all BS and crazy. They actually, and I hate to go down this road, but they use the exact same arguments that were used in the famed Nazi Germany,
Right.
for taking firearms. And I really kind of shudder that they don't see the irony of what they're doing or saying.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect from an organization that basically started out as, like you said, as a grassroots level organization, but then quickly morphed with Mayors Against Illegal Guns?
Mayors Against Illegal Guns, which is losing members at a rapid pace, whether the members quit or they go to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I mean,
you don't have the force of Bloomberg in office anymore. So.
Well, and then there's more than a handful of stories of the Mayors Against Illegal Guns members that use a firearm to coerce a staff member into performing sexual acts, or they hold an underage member of the same sex at gunpoint and demand sexual acts, and it uses the firearm and sexual acts and the power of this person. And these are the people that don't want you to have one. Makes you kind of wonder what their intent is.
Yeah. Well, when you look on search aggregator like Google, you can pull up the map that shows all the different mayors across the country who have joined the Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and then also those guys who have since rescinded their invitation and said, hey, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and quit this organization, or at least quit the department that I represent or the city that I represent. I'm going to quit the affiliation. And you'll see a lot of them across the northern tier of the country, all the way from Minnesota down to Kentucky, and then back across the upper Northeast, and then certainly down all around in Florida. Texas has one precinct. It was a Mayor Richard Ward out of Hurst, Texas, and he's the only guy out there.
That would have been Hurst, Texas. I believe that should be a tad west of Dallas in Fort Worth.
Right. Yeah.
That's like the area they call HEB, the Hurst, Euless, Bedford area. And that's a rapidly growing suburb of Fort Worth, and becoming its own metro area, and home to rising amounts of crime.
Yeah. And not only that, you look at the type of people that have moved there, and you'll see that quite a large population of folks moving in from places like California, Oregon, and Washington, and basically changing the demographics of that community, which, oh, by the way, I think Texas, you guys are still getting ready to have your gubernatorial election, are you not?
Yeah, we've really got no choice in this. We've got Wendy Davis and Abbott, and I prefer to drop a cinder block on my foot. And I think that the choice between Wendy Davis and Greg Abbott really gives me some room to walk when I say that if you vote, it's your fault. You picked these people. It doesn't. It's you signed off on this. This is just like being, I don't know, working at a store and the truckload comes in. You signed off on it. Your name is here. You accepted the ballot. I did not. Therefore, I am going to scream about this.
There you go. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of choice in the matter, I guess.
It really is. So wouldn't there be a none of the above button on the Diebold machine?
If it did, it would just get routed back to one party. So I
find that interesting.
Yeah, I think that you guys
Brazil's
are going to
coming up on it.
You guys are going to have an interesting vote, because I think that this is going to be seen as a referendum, not only on the liberal invasion in Texas, but for the larger parts, the way that the country has been run over the last 6 years. And Texas is one of those states that a lot of folks have been calling a potential battleground, and a lot of it's centers right around the individual right to bear arms.
That's a sacred right in Texas, and I mean, you can go to any hardware store basically and find shotgun shells. Some of the older auto parts stores still sell rifles and ammunition. In the more rural areas, such as where I'm at, it is not uncommon for your buddy to pull up at your house and he's got a rifle in the back seat.
Right. Well, that's a good thing, because you know what, you're not going to have any problems as long as you guys are out there doing your thing.
That's right, but unfortunately, that mindset has a lot of the mindset that wishes to change how people live has a lot of political pull, and it's hard to fight the people who know how the system works, coming from California or some other state where laws are horrible. Illinois, for example, I do happen to see a lot of Illinois plates, and they come down here and they don't like the firearms laws because they're different in Illinois.
Yeah, certainly, and not only that, they lose
it
that false sense of
here.
security. Yeah,
everything's different about it. Everything's different about it. That's part of change, right? Things are different.
Oh, but that would mean you would have to be progressive in order to get change, right?
No, I don't know. At this point, I don't even know anymore. It's almost just buzzwords, and I'd hate to be tarred as a progressive because, well, damn it, I want some change.
Yeah, well, you got hope and change, and I think change is all you're going to get left, and not in the dollar bill kind.
It'll be jingle money. It won't be folding money.
That's $1.50 there, Sonny. Don't spend it all in one spot.
I'll tell you what. Here's I'm going to give you all something that's a little bit priceless right here, and that's the 4 rules of gun safety. And this is education that you really can't pay for, and practice it every day, and it's priceless. So, rule number 1 is every firearm is loaded at all times unless you verify it. So you got to physically and visually inspect that firearm, crack it open, pull that slide back, drop the magazine, pull that bolt back, flip that cylinder out, crack that action open. Make sure there is no round in the chamber. Rule number 2, keep that muzzle pointed in a safe direction at all times. Don't point it at anything you do not wish to destroy. Don't sweep anybody with that gun when you're in a gun shop. When you're showing it to your buddies, do not sweep them with it.
Yeah, we call that
flagging.
Get on their
ass. Right, and get on their ass when they do it to you. Encourage good habits amongst your friends, and just be that much safer. Rule number 3 is know what your target is and know what's beyond your target. Don't end up, picking off that kid on a bicycle 2.5 miles away because you missed a tin can.
Certainly.
And the most important rule, the rule that if this is followed, no accidents happen. There are no negligent discharges if you keep your booger hook off the bang switch until you are ready to fire.
That is it. That is sage advice, and I think that I heard a news story the other day that pretty much goes into that. There's a liberal news organization that was the first to report on a supposed hunting accident where a 2-year-old girl was accidentally shot, and individual report says that the person using the firearm was meaning to discharge a round in a safe environment, but his finger slipped on the trigger. The bullet traveled and entered a residence, and individual was with a child, and the child was shot through the back of the head with the bullet exiting out her eye. That's a situation that could have been avoided, and unfortunately, young girls clinging to life, probably going to lose eyesight. But individual broke every single firearm safety rule right there.
I don't understand that attempting to discharge the firearm in a safe direction. Like what? Like you couldn't take the bullet out? Unload it?
His excuse when questioned by law enforcement was that was the only way he knew how to unload the firearm.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Yeah,
I'm so sorry for that poor girl. That's just. I hope they throw the book at that guy.
And so too.
I hope they weight the book down with a brick.
That would
And I hope they let the little girl's family throw the book at him weighted down with bricks, because that's just jackassery, and that's the kind of guy who most likely put an ad on Facebook saying, "Have $200 for a shotgun, hit me up."
Yep.
Have $200 for a hunting rifle, hit me up. Come on now.
Yep. So, Michael, what have you been able to do in the last week? What have you been able to do?
I'll tell you what, I did get to go shooting over the weekend with a buddy of mine. Friend of mine over the last week purchased a carry pistol for himself.
Oh,
and
cool.
in the state of Texas, we have the Castle Doctrine, which extends to the vehicle, and the Castle Doctrine permits concealed carry within the parameters of the law, and he is going to take advantage of his rights, and he purchased a concealed carry weapon, and Ruger LC9S, which is the new and updated Ruger from the LC9. I personally am a fan of the LC9. The LC9S has a much nicer trigger.
Okay.
And it came in below $400, which is right about what a decent pistol costs right now. You know, it's not top of the line, but it's not a Jennings or, you know, Brico Jimenez high point.
Right.
So this is something that's quality. It's got a good name behind it, and he's pretty happy with it. So we went and we shot that. He shot that, and I brought one of the old reliable Browning high powers, which I'm just telling you, I don't miss with them things.
Yeah, they never go out of style.
Well, that Browning high power just works in my hand. I mean, it puts the bullet where I want it to go. So I'm a lifelong fan of those, and so we pulled about 150 rounds, and then we also shot some 22s. He had a little Taurus PT-22, which is a little tiny, low cost, but functional. I'm not sure wouldn't necessarily tag it as 100%, military style reliable or anything like that. But I mean, it's for what it is and the price it is, it's a decent little pistol, you know. And with a lot of these little tiny pistols, ammunition is the key. So we shot that, and then he also had a Heritage Arms 22 long rifle, single action revolver, and we shot that for a little while. And he was actually really he had just purchased that, and actually I believe he picked that up in a trade actually, and he was amazed at the difference in noise between the short barrel pistol and that the Heritage Arms revolver. And you know, it just goes to show the amount of gas being pushed in the right direction with the long barrel and, you know, versus the short barrel. Right. And so that was kind of fun. It was really nice. Maybe I could get him on next week to, you know, give a little talk about, you know, how he felt as a purchaser, and, you know, what I wasn't necessarily super impressed with the store, and I thought that their prices were a little bit up, but I mean, that's what you're going to find at a gun store versus the big box store.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna expect some
unfriendly, but he wasn't overly friendly. There were no freebies or ups or extras offered. I mean, it was a decent buying experience. I've had nicer buying experiences, and I've had much worse buying experiences. But you know, it was just nice to see somebody getting in and actually, you know, becoming proactive about, well, participating in their rights and looking to protect themselves and their family.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it's always a good thing even to go out with somebody who's making that purchase for the first time, and just to be there with them in case they have any questions. You can offer, you know, your advice, but basically let the individual do what's right, what they feel is right for them. So that's
something that I did. As somebody who owns an LC9, and I'm fairly familiar with them, and I'm also somewhat familiar with all the other the current generation of pocket pistols that are out there. And I just gave him the pluses and the minuses versus the cost. And I'll tell you what, that SIG 938 is a beautiful, nifty little thing, and I really like it. But it's nearly double the cost of an LC9.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any type you have a little bit of innovation, you're going to have some of that cost built back in. So.
Well, you know, the Sig 938 really isn't all that much innovation because it's a stolen Colt design.
Well, just like most firearms are stolen from one way or another.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, like it's a straight copy of the Colt Pony.
Yeah, yeah.
The Colt Pony and the Colt Mustang is just stretched out to take the 9mm in there, and the Sig 238 is an exact copy of the Colt. I mean, parts swap out between the two of them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's cool. I was actually able to come up with a 50-round box of 7.62 by 5.1, and
Awesome.
Got that for free. As a matter of fact, I'm a member of a hunting.
Hey,
forum.
that's a pretty good deal. 50 rounds for free. That's about a $50 score.
Yeah, that was a good thing. You got them mailed direct to my door, no cost to me. So that was a good day. And like I said, they're full metal jacket. They're from a Brazilian manufacturer, but my 308s will eat them up for target practice and or whatever else I want to use them for.
Now, I'll tell you what, this runs into something a little interesting. A friend of mine just came across a Browning BLR, which is a lever action rifle.
Yeah, Browning lever rifle.
It's a nice piece of work. It's a beautiful rifle. I believe it's one of the ones made in Japan.
Yeah,
but it's one of the early ones made in Japan.
This would be at the Miroku Arms Manufacturing Facility in Japan.
Right, and it's really a nice rifle. But we were he talking about it, and he received a whole bunch of ammunition, and he received military surplus ammunition with it. And I told him that he can't really use that in that rifle, and he looked at me like dumbfounded. And I was like, "Well, you've got a tube magazine, and you can't have a Spitzer point bullet resting against the primer of another bullet."
that tends to make a bad chain reaction.
Right. And he had to think about it for a minute, and then he saw what was going on, and I was like, there are specialty rounds for that. You can get something that's got a ballistic tip, which is, a little rubbery tip, or a soft pointed, bullet. But, that's one of the reasons why those rifles didn't sell super.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think lever action rifles, a lot of people buy them, for the nostalgic value. You think Winchester Model 94, that's synonymous with John Wayne.
They're very effective down here. Down here, they're not necessarily bought for nostalgia. They're bought for the effect. They work.
Yeah, certainly. And the caliber that most, like I said, most Winchester 94s are chambered in 30-30. So 30 caliber bullet made in 1930, or I'm sorry, 1830, I think it was. But that is the primary round. I think you could call that a brush gun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a good solid fat round that moves at a decent speed and has the ability to knock down a couple of twigs and branches and leaves to get to the target. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it'll go through them. Like I said, I think we've talked a time before where I had a shot with a 8mm Mauser round that was redirected in flight by a unseen branch. And I think the 30-30s will make short work of that. They'll keep going. They pack a substantial punch.
Right. And you're looking at a 30-30 bullet comes in weighing about 175 grains?
Yeah, thereabouts.
180 grains, something like that. That's a decent sized bullet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're not losing anything as compared to the 30-06. I'd say, maybe a little bit in distance, but I think you're gonna have a stout argument from a lot of people that come deer season, which is rapidly approaching, that the old 30-30 is a reliable round that's probably taken more deer in North America than just about anything else.
Oh, I would definitely agree with that. Now, you bring up the fact that deer season is right around the corner, and currently we're in the midst of bird season here.
That's right. Yeah, you guys got some migrating waterfowl.
That's right. And if you want one of those migratory stamps, I believe you get to go down there and pay $49 on top of your $68 for the super combo, and you're in.
Not if you're military. You're military in Texas, you get the super combo for free.
Oh, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah, that
get
is.
Two of them. Give me two of them. Give me one of them.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I think that one of the
We,
most
we
interesting
we've
things
got
coming up is that just with the onset of the hunting season, you're gonna start seeing a lot of folks out in the woods. Some people actually will go hunting in the national forests, and that's one of the things that I kind of took. I took my family on a drive 2 days ago in our local national forest, and was surprised to learn that active duty military get a year-long pass for free. And then not only that, but a law passed in 2009 allows you to carry firearms according to the state law that the national park is in. So
That's
depending,
awfully nice.
it was great. So if I want to go up there and I want to, do some hiking, or if I, want to go camping or do some backpacking, or, we have a good stretch of the Appalachian Trail that runs right through here. I can feel safe, whether it be from wildlife or, two-legged predators. I can feel safe. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people may not realize is that you can carry in the national parks and the national forests.
Well, this also the onset of this hunting season right now, and the onset of deer season approaching, and currently in the midst of migratory bird season. Well, look at the price of shotguns. The price of shotguns kind of risen, and if you've got a shotgun right now, you're pretty much it's within reason. It's what you're asking for it.
Right.
And I think that's part of the supply and demand thing that a lot of people do not understand. It cost this much 6 months ago. Well, 6 months ago it wasn't season.
Right.
You should have bought it 6 months ago. If you're scrambling to get a shotgun the night before you go, you're looking at paying a premium.
Yeah, and then it all goes back
to
to doing your research.
You picked the wrong time to be a and timing. You picked the wrong time to be a value shopper.
That's right. Yeah, you should have been doing it a couple while back. A lot of people right now, they're going in for those semi-automatics, especially if they're going to be doing duck hunting. Haven't really seen a whole lot of people hunting ducks with a pump in a long time. I've really only seen them using semi-autos.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing pumps. It's more for something that shoots a big one, a 3-inch or a 3.5-inch.
Right.
There's no semi-autos that really cycle a big old candlestick like the 3.5s.
Yeah, you don't want to do those too often, anyways.
And something that's overlooked in a pump is the ability to change barrels, and you can go from a smooth bore to a rifle barrel, and usually if you get a decent shotgun with a decent rifle barrel on it, it's going to have sights on it.
Right.
And
right.
Boom! You're ready for deer season because a sabeted slug will take a deer nicely.
Yeah, Sabo slugs are basically, for our listeners that don't know, you have a serious amount of lead that has rifled grooves in it, which allows it to travel on the inside of the barrel, being spin stabilized, and that will keep it stable in flight, but also allow you to deposit the whole weight of that lead into your target.
Well, and then you've also got sabeted slugs, which would be a projectile that's smaller than the caliber that is being fired. Let's just say a 12 gauge, or let's say a 30-06 that's firing a 5.56.
Right. As long as you've got something that holds it intact as it's traveling down the barrel, the actual projectile is going to be smaller in diameter than whatever the diameter of the barrel that it came out of is.
And usually that smaller bullet moves at a significantly higher speed.
Certainly.
I've seen in some of the 308s that have been sabeted to take a 5.56 bullet, that bullet moves at 4,500 feet per second.
Ooh. And speed kills, folks. Speed kills. Slow down.
That is a killer right there. That's some fast stuff.
That is.
That'll punch through some plywood.
Yeah, and I was actually a little dismayed. I told you I was out there in the national park. As we were leaving the national park, had seen probably a poacher basically shot a deer through the shoulder and had removed the head and shot it solely just for the trophy. I was pretty upset about that. So
Yeah, that's is that legal in your state?
oh, absolutely not, absolutely not. And not only that, but for somebody to shoot a deer and then not use the meat and just solely to shoot it just to get the trophy and not even give the animal the respect it deserves by properly disposing of the carcass and the meat and whatnot, that is, to me, that's the lowest of the low. And I think that a lot of states have. I know Texas example has Operation Game Thief, where hunters and anybody that sees somebody poaching like that can call into a hotline and basically get that individual caught, and basically they're committing a crime. So, it's taken a renewable resource, but basically stealing it from the state and stealing it from the rest of the population that didn't have a chance for that animal come the season. And I will tell you that deer hadn't been dead more than a day or two.
Well, and not dead more than a day or two, and you still found it.
Yeah,
so
sir. And the sad thing was that it was
less than amount of predators.
Yeah. I'll tell you that that it hadn't been predated. There had been no scavenging. Basically, this animal had been shot through the shoulder, and the head cut off. And I don't think it was where I had found it was where it happened. But the individual was so brazen as to dump it where he did, which is directly across a state highway from the entrance of the national park. I mean, literally, I stood on the side of the road, saw that the deer carcass was in the ditch, looked back across the road, and there was the entrance to the national park. I couldn't believe it.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. So, we're talking about hunting season and deer hunting coming up. Folks that carry firearms are generally respectable people, and we police up our own in that sense. We talk about not allowing somebody to flag you when they're carrying a firearm, waving it around or not being safe with the direction that they're pointing it. Don't have any tolerance for folks that go out there and break those laws in terms of protecting wildlife or disposing of wildlife properly, because chances are if they're breaking the law doing that, they probably weren't acting in a safe manner to get there. And so, who knows how many shots it took to actually bring that animal down. And, somebody could have been in the area, somebody could have been walking, somebody could have been driving with their family. You never know. So,
well, I will say I've seen more than my fair share of deer with a mangled lower jaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to attribute this directly to video games and the tendency that everybody thinks that they're some sort of sniper because they've got a scope on their rifle, and now they're all going for the headshot just like it was Call of Duty or something. And this is a problem because now they've blown the jaw off that deer that did not die and is slowly going to starve to death.
Yeah, and actually, on a hunting forum that I'm on, there was a deer. It was a doe. She had been shot through the mouth and the back of her neck with a crossbow bolt. So it's not just folks that have firearms that are going out there and doing this. There's idiots in every endeavor. There's folks that are just going to go out there, and to me, that one with the crossbow bolt, we actually got pictures later on that showed that the deer had thrown the bolt out, so it had worked its way out of it. But that could have been a slow death, and I would probably attribute that to some kid who just got his first crossbow, because the animal was shot with a field point and not even a broadhead. So
right. That's fresh out of the box. I watched The Walking Dead last night.
Yeah, I thought I was Daryl Dixon for a minute.
Yeah. That kid falls into the same category as the jackass addicted to the video games.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that in we talk about social media, we talk about society's influence on pastimes. When you and I were a kid, getting online meant picking up a fishing pole. We didn't have social media the way it is now. Social media to us was getting out there, going to a gun range, and getting to meet other people who had a like interest.
Right, and actually getting out there is the main thing. It had been for me going out this weekend and shooting. It'd been a while since I'd actually been able to go out there and and instead of just like pop off like a magazine to see if this thing functions or not. It'd been a while since I'd gone out with a friend and actually had fun,
Yeah.
and it brings to mind how important this is and how you have to be aware of the situation at all times.
Right, right. And we're talking about being safe. I want to let you in. This last week, I was at work doing some working out, and I ruptured my Achilles tendon on my dominant leg. So I'm not going to
This
be
is
able.
not safe.
Yeah, this is definitely not safe. I'm not going to be able to get up into the deer woods as quick as I wanted to. It sounds like I'll be laid up for a couple of weeks after surgery, which I'm
Yes,
going to have on Thursday.
This kind of puts your climbing tree stand. You can put this on the top shelf for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean it off and just kind of set it to the side, make sure it's properly maintained and ready for the next season.
Right, boy. That's well, you're getting old. That could be a
All the more
pretty good
reason to
injury
carry.
at your old advanced age.
That's right. Well, the good thing is there'll be a significant chunk of disability at the end of the rainbow. So,
Well, and your AARP discount.
yeah. Well, hey, Michael, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to our folks that are following us on the UCY.TV chat room. The deer farmer's wife is out there talking about some deer hunting. Sounds like she's getting excited. We got some folks getting ready to have some rifles in the woods, and I'm real excited for them. I'm hoping that they're going to be able to get that chance to bring a storied firearm, hopefully that's been passed down from a family member, and get it out into the woods and do something good with it.
Well, I'd like to see anybody just get out there. I'd like to see more members of America's largest private army, the American hunters. I mean, what's the number? 4 million snipers take to the woods, and we have minimal accidents.
That's right. I tell you what, nothing beats a well-placed shot from a 30-06.
Yeah, there's very few problems you cannot overcome with that. I'd like to say thank you to UCY.TV for giving us this platform, and to Jules for really putting in the effort to bring this to you. I mean, it's not just PrimerTime, but we've got a load of shows. If anybody hasn't had the chance, give a listen to Brandon Turbeville's show, Truth on the Tracks. There is some excellent information, excellent reporting, and a perspective you don't get from mainstream news. And the guy's right on the money, and he does his research. I think it's worth a listen. I'm telling you, I've learned a lot from listening to his show. It's well presented, and it's like listening to a friend talk.
Oh, that's good. That's what it is. It's all about getting together, getting some folks that can share some like ideas and exchanging information.
Well, and I think that's what we're seeing. I think the rise in people buying firearms shows that people are starting to think alike, and I don't know what you want to call it. A rising of the mass consciousness, the 100th monkey. I don't know what you want to call it, but people are becoming aware of the need to enjoy their right and exercise their right to carry firearms, to become proficient with them. And I like that. I like that a lot.
Definitely. Well, like I said, I'm gonna get that 5.56 put together here soon. I might be able to do it in a wheelchair or on a set of crutches, but I'll give you a report back.
Well, I'll tell you what, you should go get that four-wheel drive rascal. Nick, here comes the music, man. Thank you for being on with me. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you to UCY.TV. Guys, Prepper Chicks Live After Dark is up next. Don't miss that. Thanks for listening, folks.